Style for Life. I'm Stephanie Rumble, fashion stylist, accountability coach, and your guide to feeling good in your body and your clothes. Based in Christchurch, New Zealand, I bring over 3 decades of experience in fashion, fitness, and wellness to help you feel strong, stylish, and self-assured. Together we'll explore the emotional, physical, and practical sides of style, because true confidence starts from within. No matter your age or size, you deserve to feel confident and show up as the best version of you. I truly believe this. This is Style for Life. Hi everyone, and I thought it was time to record a podcast just before Christmas about Christmas food and how to come out the other side and drink. But before I get on to this podcast today, I want to acknowledge and thank you as always for listening to the podcast last week. I really appreciate feedback, and I really like the fact that you enjoyed listening and have popped some interesting comments through to me as well. So thank you so much for that. And you know, I am still blown away every week by how many of you are listening, how many of you are interacting, and actually tell me that you have found me through my podcast. So yeah, I am very grateful. So thank you. So this week, as we lead into Christmas, we have like 2 weeks to go. How do we navigate Christmas food and drink and come out the other side? It's a question that so many of my clients ask me. It's something that I've toyed with over the years and experienced, you know, going through the whole season, feeling like I've overeaten and then not feeling great about myself. And I know a lot of people have had this as well. So overindulgence in the holiday season just can make us feel sluggish, uncomfortable, and even a bit regretful. So, and also I don't want to be a killjoy or a party pooper, because it's also really important that you have a great time over this time, because it's often a time we connect with other people, we celebrate our workplaces, or we might be celebrating, you know, just groups of people who get together and we get to see each other before the holiday season when we might head off with our families. So with a few simple strategies, you can actually enjoy all the seasonal pleasures, but still maintain your balance and well-being. Because holidays about more, and all of this party seasons is about more than just food. It's about joy, togetherness, creating memories, and everything long after all of the Christmas decorations have come down, we've finished and we've gone and all of that's happened. So it's what have we got after that? How are we relaxing? How are we enjoying ourselves? And we have such a culture tied to alcohol and food around celebration, and that is actually very valid. It's the same in many parts of the world. However, I'm going to give you some challenges and some alternatives here, and I've had so many of these conversations with my clients over the past few weeks, you know, as they go into this period. I had one particular client who said, oh, I'm organising my Christmas function next week and I'm going to order savouries. And I was like, let's talk about that. Let's talk about some other things you can order, because she's someone who's been with me for accountability coaching. And she was like, oh, I just hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought of doing X, Y, and Z. And so we had a wee chat through a menu, some options she can do, some healthy things she can order. And she was like, oh, this sounds so good. I was really wondering how I was going to manage. I was just going to eat nothing. And I was like, oh no, that can't happen. That's not enjoying yourself. And she was just hadn't thought about what other things she could offer her staff. And once we got into that, it was quite useful. So I think the thing is, this sort of leads me into saying, because we often have fat and sugar, a lot of fat and sugar at this time of the year. And I find that there's so much sugar around and so much fat around, and all of those things are okay in moderation, as we say. But when you're having lots and lots of these things, it can have an imbalance in our body. It can lead to cravings. It can lead to us feeling horrible and all of that. So I think people can get a bit anxious about these things as they head into the holiday period. So that's why we're having this conversation, because we do have high fat, high sugar foods at this time of the year, and people do get a bit anxious about this. They want to make healthy choices. So a lot of my clients will have a conversation with me. We're going out for dinner, we're going out for brunch, we're having a Christmas celebration. How do I navigate this in a healthy way? So we have a bit of a chat. So one of the suggestions I have is, when you're going to a restaurant, look ahead of time at the menu. See if it's got things on it that you know you're going to enjoy, or things that you know are going to work for you. They're going to work with your health goals, right? The other thing that can be really, really challenging is not everyone in the whānau is on the same page. So you might have, 3 or 4 of you who, like healthy choices. So you like a lot of vegetables, you like good quality proteins, but there's some of you who just see the celebratory period as a time to drink and eat a load of sugar. And this disconnect between everyone in the whānau having different expectations can be really, really challenging. So, you might think one thing and then have someone else sabotaging you because of what they think. And I've had this with a couple of my clients where they've been on this great journey, health journey themselves, and they've had another person in their whānau who really isn't keen on the health journey, or for whatever reason just doesn't stay true to what has been agreed, or just doesn't want to do it. And so it's really tricky for one party when the other's not on board. So I think we've had conversations about how we can handle and manage that, because, you can get the stuff it's, it's Christmas. Oh, well, it's party time. Oh, well, it's holiday season. Never mind. I'll just not worry about it. I'll worry about it in January. And we'll talk about that a bit too. So that can be a bit challenging when everyone's on a different page and there's different outcomes, different goals, different focuses. Again, I think it's about managing and navigating those and agreeing and putting boundaries in place about what you will and what you won't accept. And then being true to yourself. I think the other reason we're having this conversation is typically it's a time when overeating occurs, and this can disrupt healthy routines, right? So you might have a really healthy routine most of the time. Now remember as well, unless you are on a specific plan to try and, reduce your body weight or reduce, body fat, it's actually okay to have a little bit of an indulgence here and there, right? That's normal. I say to my clients post accountability coaching, one small treat a day. Now that's not like a whole caramel slice tray. I use the word small, right? So just thinking about a couple of other things. When you're faced with an abundance of food and drink, it can be really hard to decline, especially in social settings. And somebody's offering you something, they come up, they're willing to pour your glass again, and you're going, oh, say no, right? So it could be like Christmas pudding, it could be mince pies, it could be something that's really yummy like some sausages off the barbie, it could be some Christmas cake, it could be pavlova, whatever it is. You get all of these things and you know that you're going to feel sleepy in an hour or two and you lose track of how much you're consuming. So on average, do you know how many calories we consume actually on Christmas Day? These stats are from the UK, but we're really similar here in New Zealand. Our food choices are slightly different because we are in the heat. This time of the year, we're in the heat, not in the cold. 6,000 calories in the UK. Now, that's about 3 times, on average, the recommended daily amount for women and 2.5 times the recommended amount for men. So, most women who are, living a healthy lifestyle, average, it's in the law of averages, to maintain, it's around 2,000 calories per day. Some would be a lot less, some might be a wee bit more, depending on your activity and your metabolic rate and your muscle mass and a whole lot of other things. I'm giving very much averages here. So if you're having 6,000, that's a lot. That's quite a bit more than what we would have every other day. So it's really important to be aware that this can happen and think about how you're going to handle it and, plan ahead maybe so that it doesn't happen, because it is a lot of food, right? So just so you get a bit of information about the background. So if you overindulge in excess, you can have very unpleasant consequences like bloating. God, I'm so prone to bloating. I should do a whole episode on bloating because it's so horrible. Yeah, you can feel tired. You can feel distended and have digestive discomfort. Or it can also affect your mood. You can feel a bit ill. And you can be low in energy, and you don't really enjoy the season or the holiday time, right? Because when you eat too much, especially foods high in sugar and fat and salt, your bodies have to work so much harder to process and digest all of the food. And you can feel horrible, right? So you can feel sluggish, heavy, and not great. So that's what overeating can do to us. But if you drink too much alcohol too, that can disrupt sleep patterns, cause dehydration and hangovers, which can ruin an entire day. That's why moderation is key, and a little indulgence here and there is fine, but it's important to know when to stop. So yeah, there's just a few side effects that come about how we feel physically and mentally. And I think acknowledging that these things can happen can help us to think a little ahead as to how we're going to manage things going into our holiday season. Or even now, right now, like today. I've had 2 functions today. It's a Sunday, I'm recording. And so one of the functions was at the gym, and it was a class we went to, and afterwards there was big platters of food. Now, before I went to the class, I had my breakfast because I want to be on my game, when I'm having my class. I went for a run first because it was just a small 3 tracks or 15 minutes I taught. So I went for a run first, and after the run, I needed to have food. So I had my breakfast, which was a smoothie this morning. And then we did our classes at the gym, and I was participating in other people's classes and things. So it was about another 45 minutes to an hour of exercise, low intensity exercise, mostly just my 15 minutes was higher. And so I wasn't hungry when I finished because I'd had my big smoothie beforehand, and I had it like half an hour before my class. And I just wasn't hungry. So I was listening to my hunger signals, and there was a lot of platters of yummy looking cheese and crackers and some caramel slice, which I'm very weak when it comes to caramel slice, and some soft drinks and a whole lot of things. And I just didn't feel hungry. My stomach was full. So I didn't have anything. So I was listening to my body, and I'd set myself up before the class. Then fast forward, gone through my day, I've spent some time, went out for lunch with my mum, and we've had a couple of other things today. And I got to another function this afternoon, and there was a few similar type of things on offer, a couple of crackers, a wee bit of hummus and some salmon, and that was it. Because I want to have my dinner. So I'm thinking about how do I want to nourish my body? So let's talk about how we manage all of this. Now, I did some Googling and some research, as I often do before this, and I found some information from Claire Turnbull. She's a dietitian. She's a really well-received, well-known dietitian here in New Zealand, and she also is the editor of the Healthy Food Guide, which is a really cool little magazine that comes out about food. And she has some suggestions, and then I've added some more to it. So between Claire Turnbull and I, she's a dietitian, I'm not. I'm not a dietitian, I'm just a regular person. I have some qualifications in personal training, but not a dietitian. So she's given some really good suggestions, and I've added some of my own, some of the things I've learned from other clients and working with people for many years. So the first thing that came up, and this is so how I think too, oh my goodness. When you're looking at something in front of you that is something you wouldn't normally eat, so say, for example, I'm going to use the caramel slice example because I love caramel slice, right? And I don't eat much sugar nowadays because I've had so much gastric disruption with being ill when I went overseas, and I want to reduce inflammation in my body. I'm like in the thick of menopause, and sugar is just such a bad thing for me to consume. So I try really hard to stay away from it, right? But caramel slice is really hard to resist for me. So when I look at it, so today, this morning, at the function we went to, the question I asked myself is this a 10 out of 10? Does it look so good that it's worth me eating it? Am I going to enjoy it, be so happy I ate it, or will I feel yuck afterwards? So is it worth it? So I can think of a really good example. I went to this amazing cafe in Wellington. Oh my goodness, it was in Lower Hutt actually. Of course, I can't remember the name of it. And it was something like sweet vanilla or something like that. And I had this cake. It was so good. It was like a pear and caramel cake. Doesn't sound great, but it was so delicious. It had really thick piece of caramel through it. Sorry, the caramel thing's obviously gone for me, isn't it? And my friend and I, Rachel Scriven, who I've interviewed on this podcast, you can check back and see her episode. She's amazing. We both shared a piece of this cake, and it was so delicious. It was so worth the calories, right? So it was really delicious. It was really delicious and worth it. Today at the function this morning, I did have one tiny wee piece of caramel slice, which is like about the size of about 2 centimetres cubed. That was enough. Great. It was delicious. So it was a 10 out of 10. So is it a 10 out of 10? Is it going to be worth it? How are you going to feel afterwards? Really weigh that up. Is it going to nourish you? I only had a tiny piece because I wanted to have a decent lunch. So I knew once I got home and I had a shower, I'd start to feel hungry again. And I wanted to eat something healthy, not something like a raw slice, just full of calories and wasn't going to serve and nourish my body. So think really hard about what you want to eat and what's the trade-off. Is it worth it? Is it 10 out of 10, right? Have you ever wondered how you can be a fashion stylist with access to premium digital styling products? Do you want to be trained by the best in the industry and access these products that reflect fashion styling in 2025? If you do, then Image Innovators is absolutely the choice for you. This is because they have a network of over 1,000 trained fashion stylists worldwide, and you know when you work with them, you're getting the best of the best. They have evidence-based professional training offered by highly skilled facilitators that help you reach your absolute potential. This is a great alignment with Style for Life, as I and my business have used and endorsed their products for over 10 years with so many happy clients. And I'm really excited to say I'm also offering training to fashion stylists in conjunction with Image Innovators. So if you're ready to start your fashion styling training journey, then use the code BRIGHTRED25 for 10% off all products. Then the next thing is, if you're showing up to a function, how have you prepared? So I really like this, and this is exactly what I did this morning when I went to the class. I had my smoothie first, and I'm having smoothies for breakfast at the moment just because it's hot and I was thirsty. And I'm so glad I did, because I wasn't hungry. And if I'd been hungry, I would have been struggling to stay away from those platters afterwards. And they wouldn't have given me the nutrients I needed and the protein I needed, which I got from the smoothie. So how have you shown up to the event? Have you pre-planned what you're going to eat and drink? Are you hungry and thirsty when you arrive? If you do, it's so hard to resist temptation. I know if I come back from somewhere and I haven't got food organised, I can easily eat a big bag of chips and have a couple of glasses. I like tonic water, which is full of sugar. I could easily do that, but it's being organised, prepared, thinking ahead. So how are you showing up to the event? What do you need to do to make sure that you don't overindulge? Have you had something beforehand? And this brings me onto the point number 3, which is how are you treating alcohol? So if you arrive somewhere and you are thirsty, and at the moment in New Zealand, it's really hot, been 30 degrees today, which is quite hot for us. We find that quite hot. We're ridiculous when it comes to heat because we don't spend a lot of time in the heat. If you are getting there and you have not had enough to drink, then you're going to potentially use alcohol as a thirst quencher. Now, something like wine is not really a thirst quencher. Let me quickly say that. It really is not. So, do you need to have some water first to actually take away your thirst and then have something else? And then you can sit on your wine, if it's wine, and you can enjoy the drink rather than actually banging it back with full of alcohol to quench your thirst. Now, I know that beer can be really good for some people to quench thirst, but is that the best choice for you? Or do you think you could have done better with having water first and then just sipping on the beer, enjoying the taste, enjoying the moment, rather than just getting it down the hatch because you're so thirsty, right? Because in the end, the alcohol's not really going to quench your thirst. It's just going to make you dehydrated in the end. So that just means that you can slow down a little bit, you can enjoy what you've got, and you're not just, as I said, just taking it down the hatch as well. It also means that you have taken mindful care of what your body is telling you. So one of the things to really think about here is, am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Ask yourselves these questions. Now, again, of course, food is a social lubricant, as is alcohol, and it can be so nice to share food with other people, enjoy it, and I'm not suggesting that you are going to be, or not, not trying to be the fun police here, but I want to make sure that you guys come out of this holiday period feeling amazing. That is my objective for you here. So think about that. How are you actually treating alcohol? Alcohol is such an issue here in New Zealand. We overdrink really badly. We have a binge drinking culture. So, if you're really thirsty and it's really hot, it's really hard not to binge drink alcohol, right? And think about what it's doing to you. How are you going to feel afterwards? I mean, if you're going to have a few drinks and enjoy yourself, 100% go ahead. But realistically, is it going to serve you? And I have made some really radical decisions around alcohol in my life. I stopped drinking alcohol 15 years ago, and it's not because I'm an alcoholic. I actually have never been an alcoholic, but I just felt like alcohol wasn't serving me. I didn't like the person I was when I drank alcohol, and I hated the way I felt the next day, and I hated feeling sluggish, slow, not great the next day. I wanted to feel amazing, and alcohol was certainly not doing that for me. So really think about how you're waking up and showing up the day after a big binge drinking session. Is it how you want to be? Do you want to be slow? Do you want to have a headache? Because I can tell you now, as you get older, it gets much tougher, right? Do you want to be known as that person that's always drinking? Think about how that goes, right? And are you using alcohol because you're actually awkward, or because there's other issues for you that might be worth thinking about? Sorry, we ended up down an alcohol rabbit hole. But it's a topic that's quite close to my heart, and I've thought about it a lot, and I've really thought about it. Like, I want to meet the authentic person when I'm meeting somebody who I can connect with, who I can enjoy the time with, who remembers the conversation. Doesn't just forget it because I've got trashed and gone to sleep, and then I've just like it's like a meaningless interaction. So if you are someone who's battling with the alcohol thing over this period, honestly, again, I'm not a therapist, I'm not medically trained, but it might be an opportunity to reach out, because this time of the year is really hard on people who do have addictions and things. Okay, that's the alcohol thing. Have water first. We got very sidetracked. So if you're going to a function and it's bring a plate, and often it is nowadays, which is actually excellent. And I talked about this in my Christmas burnout episode. It's much easier than having to have you prepare the food for everybody, right? So if it's bring a plate, bring a healthy option that you know that you'll eat and that will serve you, your nutritional goals. So what is it you're trying to achieve? Do you want some healthy vegetables, some healthy protein? Then take it. Take those things along. So if you need to, you can eat mostly what you bring yourself. I've got some really lovely friends I absolutely love who are vegan. And sometimes we've had the odd vegan feast, which has been really fun. My husband and I are not vegetarian or vegan, but I appreciate and respect the choice to not eat any dairy or meat products. I think that's very noble, or any animal products actually is the definition of vegan. And I have really enjoyed some of the things that they make as well. I have a bit of IBS, so some of the lentils and chickpeas and beans don't work for me, but there's plenty of other great options too. So sometimes people bring along food that they need because they have dietary requirements. I always try and be really inclusive as well. So I am taking something to a function and there are people who may have dietary requirements. Like, for example, I've got a whānau member who is celiac. So do we make a cake that's actually gluten-free so that that person can enjoy it as well? Can you consider those particular dietaries? So, and also your own needs. So yeah, I mean, a healthy option that you know that you'll eat and it will actually serve your health goals. That's a really good way to do it. And a lot of my clients are finding barbecues at this time of the year, which we have a lot of in New Zealand, so much easier with the whole bring a plate option. Mindful eating. So this is so interesting. I've had a client I've been working with for a year now. She's done exceptionally well. She's lost a lot of weight and is still on her health journey, and she's also feeling better. There's so many life changes for her. But one of the things that she found she used to do before she got into this program with me is that she never ate mindfully. She didn't even know she'd eaten. She actually wouldn't even remember that she'd eaten. She'd do it, and it's like her mind went blank. So one of the things we've talked about and learned about with her is mindful eating. So when you're going to a function or navigating a function, where are you positioning yourself? Like, there's often a table or an area where there's food. So are you sitting near to it, or are you actually positioning yourself away from it? So you're not having the food right there in your face. It's really hard to resist it if it's right there in your face. Yeah, so think about it. Don't stand near the food. When the food comes your way, say no thank you. Think about everything that comes near you. Is this serving the health goal that I want? What do I want from my life? Like, I know myself, I want to make sure that I'm looking after my internal gut. You know, my father died of a gut-related cancer, and I want to make sure that I don't have the same problem, right? I'm not headed down the same trajectory, and we've got a family history of some of these things. So It's really important to me that I don't eat something that upsets my gut. But even if it's delicious, it's not worth it now, right? Mindful eating, thinking about what you're choosing, staying away from the food table if that's a problem for you, eating slowly, enjoying the food. Have an active function. I love the suggestion. Oh my goodness, one of the gyms did this. One of our GFIs, which is group fitness instructors, said, let's do pickleball. I've never done it. It was really good fun. Alex, thank you so much if you're ever listening to this. Great suggestion. Active function. So we all played pickleball. We ran around a bit. We talked and stuff. So I wasn't just sitting and drinking and eating, which is also fun. The next one is number 7. Don't punish yourself if you have a bad session. So, okay. So first of all, if you do have a big binge, maybe you've had a big sort of late afternoon meal or a function, right? And you've had lots of snacks and cheese and crackers and like some hummus and veggie sticks and nothing that's really substantial. You just feel a little bit rough when you finish. A few glasses of alcohol. You don't really feel hungry, but you don't really feel great, right? So I'd say don't skip meals the next day. Maybe that day go home and have some water and chill out and go to bed, but don't skip all of your meals the next day, right? So think about the next day being about nourishment, right? So what is it that you're going to have the next day that's going to nourish your body? Like more vegetables. You might have more smoothies. You might add more healthy proteins, especially if you have a bit of a hangover. So think about what's going to nourish you. So don't punish yourself, but think about having a healthy, nourishing day after a day of heavy eating, especially like Christmas Day, right? Oh my gosh. So what do we do the next day? Or what do we do on Christmas Day? A lot of the time we go for walks, right? So we go for a bit of a walk on Christmas Day after Christmas dinner. It's like, whew, we need to go for a walk. And that's a great thing to do. Gets the body moving. It gets the food moving. It's a great way to do it. Enjoy the holiday season more if you don't overdo it. So you'll enjoy it a whole lot more if you don't overdo it. And also have some gratitude. So gratitude is so key to mental health. So in this whole time, be grateful and thankful you've got functions to go to, grateful and thankful you've been invited places, and actually think about what's been good for you, right? As opposed to what might not be great, right? So grateful that you've come to this function, and what are you doing here? What is the purpose of the function? It's to connect with the people that you are there at the function with. So connecting with them and not necessarily just with the food. The food is secondary to the connection. And my sister used to say this. I really appreciate that, Libby, actually. She used to say this about Christmas. It's about the people at Christmas. It's about whānau getting together. It's about us seeing each other. It's about us having space and holding space for each other. It's about us seeing people in our family we don't often see, or we don't see as much as we'd like to. Right? So I am so excited about our family Christmas, which will be our 4 children and my husband and I, and potentially a couple of partners of the children coming up. So how exciting. I am like dreaming about it. I'm so excited. I don't know if they are, but I am, because, you know, they were together for 20 years and now they're not here. Empty nest and all that. So I'm so looking forward to connecting with the people. Obviously, there's going to be some food because we all like eating. We all like moving too. So there'll be some moving because we all like to move. We all like to be active. We all like to be doing things so that we're not kind of just sitting around eating. I'm sure there's going to be some fun. One of my sons has put together an itinerary for the week. We're only there for 5 days, and we're going up north of Auckland. And my other son's already said, I'm going to bring some paddle boards, and everyone's kind of excited about moving as well as eating and socializing and doing things. There's some really fun things happening as well. Like one of my sons has said, let's put a PowerPoint together of all the things we have done this year or of our year, because we haven't been in each other's lives as much over this last year because the kids have moved out of home. Anyway, I got diverted again. Okay, so what else do we do? One other thing. Keep the water up. I have this big cup that sits in my office, and when I'm online, I drink out of it. It's about 500 mils, a wee bit more actually, about 600 mils. I try and empty this. I've got a nice straw in it. It's got a glass straw in it. I always put ice in the water, and it's really cold and refreshing and really nice. And if you don't like plain water, maybe sparkling water's for you. You can get a soda stream if you don't have a fancy fridge that makes it, and all of those options. Okay, so suggestions on how to navigate Christmas food and drink and parties and come out the other side. Okay, so suggestion number 1 is it a 10 out of 10? Do I really love it? I want to eat it. Is it going to be great for me? Number 2 is how have you shown up for the event? Have you pre-planned? Have you pre-eaten? How are you feeling? Because if you're hungry and thirsty, you're just going to bang back stuff that's not good. Number 3 is how you're treating alcohol. I did talk a lot about that. So is it a thirst quencher, or have you had some water first so that you're not just banging back alcohol, right? Number 4 is if it's bring a plate, bring a healthy option that you know is going to serve you and your health goals. Number 5 is mindful eating. Where have you positioned yourself around the room, and how are you eating? Are you thinking about the food, or are you just putting it in without thinking about it? Number 6 was have an active function. So can you do something where you're walking, you're playing a game, you've got some activities? Number 7 is don't punish yourself after a bit of a binge. Get back on track the next day, get healthy, get moving, and be nourishing for your body. Number 8 is enjoy the season and have gratitude over what you actually have, because that is so important. And number 8 is keep the water up so that you are actually getting enough fluid in and you're not just dehydrating. And number 10 is connect with the people, not just the food. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holiday season. I am very excited to be able to share this with you. I'm going to be recording some more podcasts before Christmas, which you'll get into the new year, because I want all of you to have some great things to listen to and some great things to enjoy. So thank you so much for listening. And remember, I also want to acknowledge our fantastic sponsor, Claire Maxfield from Image Innovators. She sponsors our podcast. So if you do need any of her products, feel free to jump online and have a look. And also jump online and follow us on all socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all of the socials. We're on all of them, and YouTube. Yeah? So have a good Christmas period. Enjoy yourself and enjoy connecting with other people. Kia kaha, everybody, and thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for listening to the Style for Life podcast. Don't forget, you deserve to feel fabulous at every age, every stage, and at every size. If you're loving the show, hit subscribe and leave a review. It helps more amazing people like you find their way back to life through style. Thanks again. Until next time.